Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So, all of us are trying to practice devotional service, the path of Bhakti Yoga. And on the path of Bhakti Yoga, there are so many obstacles which are caused by our own distracted mind and our own senses. And one of the greatest obstacles in our advancement in Bhakti Yoga is our offensive mentality towards devotees. When we offend devotees, or even if when we hold that offensive mentality towards devotees, that causes the greatest obstacle possible, right? So, in fact, that's the first Nama Aparadha. So, we'll discuss a few pastimes from Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Ramayana that demonstrate the dangers of offenses to Vaishnavas, and also gives us some important suggestions how to overcome that offensive tendencies, right? So in the next 1 hour, we'll try to discuss a few principles taught in our scriptures. So you're able to see the screen, right? So now the devotees of the Supreme Lord are very dear to the Lord, and as Lord Vishnu himself personally tells Durvasa Muni, he says, Sadhava hridayam mahyam sadhunam hridayam tvaham. So all the sadhus are there in my heart. So the Lord is there in the devotees' hearts, and the devotees are there in the Lord's heart, right? So the Lord keeps the devotees so close to his heart that he wears them as a necklace around his neck. So there is a beautiful shloka in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. The shloka says, Kaumodaki bhagavato dayitam smareta digdhamarati bhatasho anita kardamena mala madhuvrata varutha giropaghushtam chaityasya tattvamamalam manimasya kanthe Kaumodaki bhagavato dayitam smareta. The Kaumodaki Gada of the Lord is known to punish demons, and the Kaumodaki Gada is always tainted by the blood of the demons. Okay, so we have to meditate on that Kaumodaki Gada. So offenders are punished by Kaumodaki Gada. So next is Mala Madhuvarta Varutha Giropa Gushtam Chaityasya Tattvam Valam Manimasya Kanthe. So the Lord wears a nice pearl necklace around his neck, and that necklace represents the pure-hearted devotees. Well, the Lord's Gada, Kaumodaki Gada, destroys the demons. The Lord's necklace represents the devotees. He keeps them very close to the heart. He keeps them inside the heart. Sadhavo hridayam mahyam sadhunam hridayam tvaham. So I don't know anyone else. They don't know anyone other than me. So this is our deep relationship. So associating with devotees is very beneficial, and in fact it's a very integral part of Bhakti Yoga. Sadhu Sangha is an integral part of Bhakti Yoga. In fact, our Bhakti begins by the mercy of devotees. Satam Kripa Bhat Seva. When devotees show some mercy upon all of us, then we make progress in devotional service. Okay. So while associating with devotees and serving devotees, receiving mercy from devotees will help us advance in bhakti, offending devotees, criticizing devotees, blaspheming them, or acting or speaking in ways that are very displeasing to the devotees, is very detrimental for our spiritual progress, right? So, while cordial relationships with devotees and rendering service to them, their association is inspiring to us. Offending them will be very dangerous for our spiritual progress. Okay. So, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is a beautiful shloka that gives a caution note. So, this shloka is spoken by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu directly to Rupa Goswami. यदि वैष्णव अपराध उठे हाथी मत उपाड़े व छिंदे तारा सुखियाय पाता. So we receive the seed of devotional service, seed of bhakti from a potent Vaishnava guru, and that seed grows into a creeper, and eventually that creeper reaches the lotus feet of the Lord in Goloka, provided we water that seed with the watering of Shravanam and Kirtan. So for the seed to grow, we need to pour water, right? So the water is compared to Shravanam and Kirtan, the process of hearing and chanting that we do. However, when we offend other devotees, then that offense will act like a mad elephant that enters the garden and tramples all the plants and uproots this creeper of devotional service. Okay, so that will spoil one's devotional service. Of course, in one sense, the devotional credits that one acquires are not spoiled or not destroyed completely as such, but they remain inaccessible. Okay, so one needs to be very careful in one's dealings with other devotees. So blaspheming, insulting, harming, criticizing the devotees will directly hurt the Lord. Okay, so it destroys the pious and spiritual credits that one has amassed with great endeavor. Chaitanya Charitamrita says like this. So let's see, there are so many such stories within Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Ramayana. So one such story is the story of Ambarish Maharaj and Durvasa Muni. So as you know the pastime, Durvasa Muni came as a guest to Ambarish Maharaj's house, and Ambarish Maharaj requested Durvasa Muni, please accept some food. Durvasa agreed, and he went to Yamuna to take bath, but he was not returning. So meanwhile, the auspicious time to break fast is just moving, because our Ambarish Maharaj had to break his Ekadashi fast. That was the Dwadashi day. So he thought, okay, let me take a little water so that I honor the Ekadashi Vrata. So Ambarish Maharaj just took little water. Taking water is considered breaking fast and not breaking fast. So he took little water, and Ambarish Maharaj thought that I broke my fast, and I also respected this Brahmana, because before feeding the guest, you should not eat. So he thought of honoring both Ekadashi Vrata and Brahmana. But when Durvasa Muni came back, he understood with his mystic power that Ambarish Maharaj had taken his water without feeding him. So Durvasa Muni became very offended. So Durvasa Muni immediately wanted to kill Ambarish Maharaj, and he created a fiery demon to kill him. But Ambarish Maharaj thought that it's just the Lord's desire that I be punished like this. So it's not proper that I confront a Brahmana. So let me just keep quiet. If some other Kshatriya would have attacked Ambarish Maharaj, probably Ambarish Maharaj would have fought with him. Okay. But because a sage, a Brahmana, is attacking Ambarish Maharaj, Ambarish did not respond. So he just stood quiet. All devotee did not take the offense of this yogi seriously, Durvasa Muni seriously. Still, the Lord took it seriously. So the Lord Sudarshan Chakra came and started chasing Ambarish Maharaj. First, the Sudarshan Chakra destroyed that fiery demon, and started chasing this Durvasa Muni. So Durvasa Muni went everywhere. So there is no shelter throughout the universe. Durvasa Muni went to Shiva Loka, Brahma Loka, but he did not get any shelter from anywhere. Finally, he went to Vishnu Loka also. Still no shelter. So Shiva told, I cannot save you. Brahma told, I cannot save you. So because you have offended a Vaishnava, I cannot save you. So now you see Ravana, he also received so many boons from Brahma, Shiva, Devatas he received. But none of these boons saved Ravana from the wrath of Ram and Lakshman. Okay, because Ravana had offended Sita Devi by kidnapping her. And not only Sita Devi, he has tormented so many people, right? He offended Vibhishan also. Okay, so when we offend devotees, when we offend the Lord, even Devatas also cannot protect us. In fact, Devatas will remain unfavorable to such offenders. Okay, so what makes one offend Vaishnavas is false ego. There are multiple reasons. We'll discuss that as we discuss more and more pastimes. But from this pastime, we understand that Durvasa Muni was having a sense of superiority complex. He had false ego. He was thinking that I am a sage and he is a householder, Ambarish. I am a Brahmana and he is a Kshatriya. So in all ways I am superior to him. How can he insult me like this? It's not an insult, but still he perceived it as an insult. Because when you expect honor from others and when you don't receive that honor, you tend to take it as an offense, right? But actually he was receiving honor also, although he did not deserve in one sense, but still he was receiving that honor. But he wanted more. He wanted that a Brahmana guest has to be given more importance than Ekadashi Vrata. Even at the cost of compromising his Ekadashi Vrata, this Ambarish Maharaj is supposed to stay without taking anything till I return. That is his false ego, right? So he had a sense of superiority complex over Ambarish Maharaj. But the Lord personally proved that a Vaishnava is superior to Brahmana. So false ego is the cause of offensive behavior, and this false ego also prevents us to seek forgiveness from the other people. Even if we realize that we have done a mistake, still sometimes it becomes very difficult to say sorry, isn't it? So it happens sometimes. Sometimes we understand, oh, it's my mistake. But should I say sorry? Oh, how can I say sorry to him? Saying sorry means I am admitting that I have done a mistake. Yeah, I have done a mistake, I know it. Let me only know it. Let the whole world not know it. Okay, so I will not say sorry to him. Okay, let him not know it. So false ego blocks us from even apologizing. So but the Lord completely smashed the pride of this Durvasa Muni. When Durvasa Muni went to Vaikuntha, Lord Vishnu told, I cannot forgive you. First he said, you offended me by offending my devotee, because I am there inside his heart. Then Durvasa Muni said, okay, fine, my dear Lord, if you feel that I offended you, so I'm sorry, forgive me. So Durvasa Muni wanted to beg forgiveness from the Lord. That's easier, right? But Lord said, no, I'm not in Vaikuntha. I'm in the heart of Ambarish Maharaj. You should go and beg forgiveness from him. Wherever you have committed offense, there only you have to go and beg forgiveness. Okay. The Lord said, I am there within the heart of Ambarish Maharaj. Because you tried to kill him, I am offended. So Durvasa Muni all the way went to Vaikuntha. In Vaikuntha, the Lord said that I am offended. Durvasa Muni said, I am sorry. No, I am not here. I am there inside the heart of Ambarish Maharaj. You go and beg forgiveness from Ambarish Maharaj. Only he can forgive you. Okay. And on the other hand, Ambarish Maharaj did not take the offense only. So there is the question of forgiving. So in the case of a devotee, pure devotee, there is no question of forgiveness. Forgiveness is one of the qualities of a Vaishnava, but technically speaking, exalted Vaishnava doesn't take offense only. Where is the question of forgiveness? Okay, so forgiveness question will not arise in the case of a Vaishnava because offense is never taken. Okay, but Durvasa Muni, when he went and fell at the feet of Ambarish Maharaj lifted him and he actually felt embarrassed. Oh, this is such a Brahmana wonderful Brahmana is coming and falling at my feet. He felt very embarrassed, uncomfortable. Okay. So, anyways, he was forgiven. So, the solution for our offenses, one solution, we'll discuss more, is that we should realize that we have done an offense. We should admit it. We should not hide it. And humbly beg forgiveness. If we keep aside our false ego and humble ourselves and beg forgiveness from a devotee with a repentant heart, then we will receive mercy. Okay. So, we learn this lesson from Ambrish Maharaj and Durvasa Muni story. So, one more pastime. In the fifth canto of Bhagavatam, there is the story of Jada Bharat. So, Jada Bharat was a pure Vaishnava, but externally he was behaving like a simple, mad person, right? So, he was guarding some field. Once some band of dacoits arrested Jada Bharat and took him to their hideout so that they can kill Jada Bharat as a sacrifice, as an offering to Kali. So they were trying to kill him, but Kali could not tolerate this offense. So as I said sometime back, even Devatas also cannot tolerate Vaishnava Aparadha. So the deity of Kali broke open and Kali came out of the altar and started killing all the dacoits, this band of dacoits. Because these dacoits, they thought that we will sacrifice a human being who is as good as an animal, Purusha Pasu. They have concocted some kind of ritual, it's called Swavidhana. So it's not necessarily a Shastric way of worshipping Kali, but they just concocted some ritual. Okay, let's kill this person, innocent person who does not have much intelligence. If we kill, Kali will give us more and more powers to commit theft, right? To exploit people. So, to do their nefarious activities, already they are doing sinful activities, and they wanted more and more empowerment from Kali to do the sinful activities. And they are offending a Vaishnava, they are trying to kill a Vaishnava to get that empowerment. How can Kali tolerate this? So, the Devatas are not so impressed with their own devotees who approach them with material desires. The Devatas are more favorably inclined towards the devotees of Vishnu. So Jada Bharat was a pure Vaishnava. So immediately Kali came and chopped off the heads of all these dacoits. So they were longing for powers, but they lost their lives. Okay, this is because of Vaishnava Aparadha, because of their deep-rooted offensive attitude. One thing is, they did not have anything personal with Jada Bharat, but they utilized Jada Bharat for fulfilling their desires. Okay, actually, devotees may tolerate personal offenses, but they cannot tolerate offenses committed to other devotees. So Kali is also a Vaishnavi. She is a great devotee of Lord Vishnu. How can she tolerate any offense done to Jada Bharat, who is another Vaishnava? So she immediately protected Jada Bharat. So one more thing is, when someone happens to meet such a spiritually elevated person like Jada Bharat, one should seek spiritual guidance from such a devotee and not exploit them for their own purposes. Of course, these dacoits are so much in mode of ignorance that they could not realize the spiritual status of Jada Bharat. However, when someone happens to meet a saintly person, one should not try to utilize the association of that saintly person to get some material work done. Okay, one should be honest and humble enough to seek guidance from the devotee in progressing in spiritual path, right? So, next, the same Jada Bharat, after some time, he was just guarding one field, some agricultural field. So, there was some king named Rahugana who was wandering, he was just passing by. So, his servants were carrying this Rahugana king on a palanquin, and they wanted another person to carry. So they immediately caught this Jada Bharat. He seemed very strong and stout. Okay, he seems very young, so let him carry. So they forcefully brought him to carry the palanquin of Rahugana. So Jadabharat did not protest. Actually, they did not have to force, but they forced other people to bring. But Jadabharat need not be forced. He just came. He started carrying the palanquin. But while carrying the palanquin of the king, Jadabharat was not moving properly. He was moving very erratically because on the way he has seen some ants. Okay, so he did not want to step on the ants. So a devotee is one who does not want to even cause harm to even an ant. So Jadabharat was moving little erratically. So that bothered Rahugana. He chastised Jadabharat. He said, hey, take it properly. Then again, Jadabharat was continuing to carry the palanquin like this only. Again, the king became very angry. He said, oh, you are a very old person and you are carrying the palanquin for such a long time. Maybe you are tired. Basically, he said very sarcastically. So, Jadabharat was not old. He was not carrying for a long time. He just joined. So, the king sarcastically spoke to Jadabharat to insult him. Still, Jadabharat was continuing to carry like this only. Then Jadabharat became furious. Then Rahugana, King Rahugana became very furious. So he said, you are my servant. I am your master. If you don't carry the palanquin properly, I am going to punish you. It's my responsibility to punish you. Okay, I'm the king. Understand? So then Jadabharat turned towards the king, Rahugana, and said, oh, you are king and you are the master and I'm a servant and you punish me. So he said, I am a self-realized person acting like a madman. So there is no use punishing a madman. There is no use punishing a self-realized person. And he continued to carry the palanquin, saying this much. Then Rahugana was scared. Rahugana was surprised. How come he's speaking such profound philosophy? He looked like a madman, but he's speaking very profound philosophy. Self-realized person. So immediately got down from the palanquin and fell at the feet of Jadabharat. He recognized that Jadabharat was not an ordinary person. Then he asked his identity, and Jadabharat revealed his identity and spoke a lot of philosophy, 5 chapters of philosophy. So now you see, Rahugana offended Jadabharat without knowing his power. Okay. And even dacoits also offended Jadabharat without knowing his power. But these dacoits were too much in mode of ignorance. By nature, they are very mischievous. They are exploitative. They are selfish. Their whole job is to plunder people and take their riches. But this Rahugana was not like that. He was a king. He was not in ignorance. He was in mode of goodness. Of course, as king, he had some little pride and he wants to show his authority on people. So that's there for an average Kshatriya. So that's why he just forcefully brought all these servants and made them carry his palanquin, and he chastised also Jadabharat. But as soon as he realized his mistake, because he is in mode of goodness, he immediately fell at the feet of Jadabharat and begged forgiveness. I'm sorry, Jadabharat. Then he said, Naham Vishanke. I think I have put this in PPT also. So Rahugana was repentant. He honestly repented for his offense. What we can learn from Rahugana is, when we commit an offense towards a devotee, we should honestly repent for that offense. We should sincerely beg forgiveness. Then the offender will be relieved from the grave reaction of Vaishnava Aparadha. So while the dacoits were killed by Kali, Rahugana was not killed by Kali or anyone, because he begged forgiveness with a sincere heart, with a repentant heart. He said sorry. Okay, so he was saved. And he also said, Naham Vishanke Suraraja Vajran Natriyakshasulan Nayamasya Dandat Nagyartya Soma Nilavittapastrat Shankhe Brusham Brahmakulava Mahanat. So Rahugana says that Naham Vishanke Suraraja Vajran. Oh great Brahmana, I am not afraid of Indra's Vajrayudha. thunderbolt. I am not fearful of Indra's thunderbolt. Not Triyaksha Shula. Triyaksha means one who has three eyes, Lord Shiva. Shiva has a Trishula, right? So Rogana says, I am not afraid of Shiva's Trishula. Na Yamasya Dandat. I am not even afraid of Yamaraja's Danda. Na Agni, Arka, Soma, Anila, Vittapastrat. I am not at all afraid of all the weapons of Agni, means fire god, Arka, sun god, Soma, moon god, Anila, wind god. So all these different devatas have their weapons, right? So he says, I am not afraid of any of these weapons. And he also said, because I am a Kshatriya, I get more excited to see these weapons so that I can fight. Kshatriyas are sometimes excited to fight. Okay, not unnecessarily, but when there is an opportunity to fight, they will fight. But Shankhe Vrisham Brahmapalavamanat, I am extremely afraid of offending a Vaishnava, offending Brahmanas, or insulting Brahmanas. So, the danger caused by Yamaraja's Danda, the danger caused by Shiva's Trishula, the danger caused by all the powerful weapons of great devatas like Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Vayu are not as dangerous as the reaction to an offense to Vaishnava. So Vaishnava Aparadha is more dangerous than Shiva's Trishula, Indra's thunderbolt, and Yamaraja's Danda or Pasha. So to that degree, Vaishnava Aparadha is very grave, and he realized it. Prabhu realized it. Although he was a king, right in front of all his servants and palanquin bearers and soldiers and ministers, he fell flat at the lotus feet of Jada Bharat. You see, no false ego. So this is a real king. So when we realize that we have the complete offense, we should beg forgiveness. Even in public, okay, I will say sorry, but when nobody is around, I will privately go and say sorry. Okay. Of course, we need to do all that in according to time, place, circumstances. But point here is, this person, this Raghugana did not have any reservations in begging forgiveness. That's why he is relieved from Vaishnava Aparadha. So to relieve ourselves from reactions to Vaishnava Aparadha, we need to beg forgiveness sincerely. So one more danger of Vaishnava Aparadha is one aparadha leads to another aparadha. You know, Daksha and Shiva, this past time. So Daksha criticized Lord Shiva so much. So Daksha also is very envious of Lord Shiva, because Shiva is a very prominent devata and is receiving so much honor. But Daksha is a prominent Prajapati, he is also receiving so much honor, but Shiva is also receiving. So Daksha became very insecure and envious of Lord Shiva. So he went to the sacrificial assembly and criticized Lord Shiva in various ways. And he even cursed Lord Shiva in public. May this Shiva not get any oblations and sacrifices. His duplicate envy. He could not accept the greatness of Lord Shiva. Okay. So mentally envying a devotee will make one commit offenses verbally and physically also. So Daksha had envy within his mind. Daksha envied Lord Shiva within his mind. But it did not stop there. So as long as it is inside us, it is emotion. When it comes out of our mouth, it is expression. When it becomes an action, then it's physical and it's more serious and grave. So emotion, expression, action. We offend devotees at three levels: emotion, expression, and action. Mental offense, verbal offense, physical offense. Right? So it begins with mental offense. Okay. So even if somebody happens to commit a physical offense, if the offensive mentality is not there within the mind or within the words or tongue, one may be forgiven. For example, like hitting a Vaishnava with a foot, with our leg, is offensive, definitely. But when you are dancing in Kirtan, in Guru Puja Kirtan or some Maharati Kirtan, you happen to step on the leg of a Vaishnava, another devotee who is dancing with you. So, from one perspective, it's an offense, physical offense. But you never had the thought, I want to hurt him, I want to stamp on his leg. You never had that thought. So, he says sorry and then he will also forgive. It's not taken very seriously, right? So, but offensive thought is more dangerous. So at thought level, if you can restrict it, I'm not saying that physical offenses are not as dangerous as mental offenses, but uh, point is, accidental offenses are forgiven, but intentional offenses are not forgiven so easily. So when we have some offensive thoughts within the mind, when we have some envious feelings towards other devotees within the mind, sooner or later they will manifest in our tongue, through our tongue. When we tend to criticize them, blaspheme them, offend them, insult them, speak words that are hurting to their hearts, and it could even become actions also. So we need to curtail these offenses at the thought level, at the level of one's mind only. So then we'll be protected from verbal offense and physical offense. Physical offense is more grave, definitely, but the physical offense done with a deep-rooted internal envy is more detrimental. Accidentally, if somebody does something small thing, it's not taken so seriously, but somebody goes and kills. Accidentally, I killed. It doesn't happen like that. Okay, so Daksha had deep-rooted envy towards Lord Shiva. So he started speaking against Lord Shiva, and he even cursed Lord Shiva. So such a mentality makes one offend multiple devotees. And you know what has happened? Because Daksha had an offensive mentality towards Shiva, he even neglected Shiva's wife, Sati, who is his own daughter. Okay. Daksha did not have anything against Sati, but because Sati is connected to Shiva, Daksha offended Sati also. See, our offensive mentality towards one devotee will not remain with that devotee only. Sooner or later, we will start feeling negative towards those people who are connected to him also. That is the power of offense. A negative thought towards a person will not remain with that person only. It may extend to those people who are connected to that person. Okay. So thus, Daksha neglected Sati Devi, although his loving daughter, beloved daughter, so she came voluntarily to attend father's sacrifice out of her love, out of affection, out of trust on her father, but that my father will continue to know me. But he could not show any love. Even when she is committing suicide, this Daksha did not come to stop her. Okay, he became so hard-hearted. So envy towards other devotees will make us so hard-hearted. So after that, Shiva sent Veerabhadra and then killed Daksha, beheaded Daksha. Then Brahma came and pacified Lord Shiva, and Shiva said, okay, fine, I'll put a goat head on the body of Daksha, and he revived him. Okay. So, and Daksha came back to life and he said sorry also, but still the deep-rooted offensive mentality that he had towards Lord Shiva haunted him even in the next life. Right? So, as a result of his offensive mentality towards Lord Shiva, he offended Narada Muni in his next life. In the next life, Daksha is born as a Kshatriya. There is a degradation. First Brahmana birth, then Kshatriya birth. Then Daksha had 10,000 sons, Haryashvas. Narada Muni taught them Bhakti Yoga and made them sannyasis. Then again Daksha had 1,000 more sons. Narada Muni did the same thing. Then Narada Muni once met Daksha, and Daksha blasphemed Narada Muni, criticized him, cursed him again. So Acharyas say that this is a result of Daksha's offense to Lord Shiva. So when we have deep-rooted offensive mentality towards other devotees, when we have deep-rooted negativity, grudge, envy, hatred towards other devotees, those feelings will haunt us even to the next life also. Okay, so we need to be extremely careful. Yeah, sometimes one may say something or do some things circumstantially, but if one holds that grudge and envy and hatred towards other devotees internally, that will definitely become a great obstacle in our spiritual life. Okay, so Daksha was very envious. So we need to curb that envy. Envy is another reason for our offense. We discussed one reason was false ego, and now envy, another reason. So actually, envy towards another person is indirect appreciation for that person. Why Daksha was envying Lord Shiva? Because Shiva is glorious. Okay, so better appreciate him directly. Oh, Shiva, you are so glorious. Instead of converting all his good qualities as bad qualities and envying him or minimizing his great position. So understand that without Lord's sanction, no one can become successful or great. So Shiva, the great Vaishnava, the Lord personally kept him in that position. Why should Daksha have any problem? Okay. So Kapila says in the third canto of Bhagavatam, even if one flawlessly worships me with perfect paraphernalia, if one offends and hates my devotees, I consider that worship as oblations into ashes. Right? That's an imitation worship. The Lord is not pleased with our worship if we offend his devotees. Okay, so he may perfectly worship the Lord. That's Kanishta mentality. Kanishta mentality is like a Kanishta devotee, it means a neophyte devotee, may worship the Lord nicely, may worship the deities nicely, but he's very neglectful, disrespectful towards other devotees. So the Lord is not very pleased with such neophyte devotees. Okay, so next, another story about Duryodhana. So Duryodhana had a lot of greed for the kingdom. So he did not want to share the kingdom with the Pandavas or Yudhishthir. So he envied Yudhishthir always. He had pride and he had greed. So that converted into envy and jealousy, intolerance, seeing the glory of Pandavas. So now this Duryodhana, if he had a lot of greed for the entire kingdom, I should not give even small part of land to the Pandavas. Even Krishna personally came to negotiate with Duryodhana. Duryodhana said, what to speak of 5 villages? I will not give even that much land that can be accommodated under the tip of a nail. Okay. So to that degree, Duryodhana was greedy for the kingdom, selfish, envious, proud, offensive towards the Pandavas. Okay. So many times he offended. Vishan Mahatme Purushada Darshana Rasasabhaya Vanavasa Kritritaha. So Duryodhana insulted Draupadi. Duryodhana poisoned Bhima. Duryodhana usurped all the property of Yudhishthira Maharaj by cheating him in a gambling match. So many times we see many people offended other devotees in one context, in one situation, but Duryodhana repeatedly committed hundreds of offenses to the Pandavas. He tried to kill them by setting fire to their house. Kunti Maharani was also there. Okay, he offended not only men, he offended women also. Right? Their mother and their wife. Pandava's mother and Pandava's wife. Draupadi and Kunti also were tormented by Duryodhana and his party. Dushasam, Sakuni, Karna, all these people. So, we need to understand that Duryodhana had deep-rooted offensive mentality out of his greed for the kingdom, out of his desire to sit on the throne of Hastinapur. Right? So, if Duryodhana made some friendship with Yudhishthira Maharaj, at least Duryodhana would have got half the kingdom. Half for Pandavas and half for Kauravas. That's fine. Okay. And if he had compromised, he would have become the king of entire Hastinapur except the 5 villages. Okay, Pandavas asked for 5 villages, right? At least he could have given 5 villages and he could have retained the rest. But because he was so greedy, he did not get anything. Duryodhana. Okay. So Duryodhana was greedy. One thing is, he doesn't lose anything by giving 5 villages to Pandavas. He doesn't lose anything by giving half the kingdom to Pandavas. But out of his envy, he did not want Pandavas to even live also. Okay. So then he ruined the whole family. Not only he died, all his 99 brothers died. And so many other kings who supported him, they all died. So the lesson here is, and one more thing, Duryodhana offended so many other people also. Because of his envy towards Pandavas, he offended Vidura because Vidura was supporting Pandavas. He offended Krishna. He tried to arrest Krishna also. So the Vaishnava Aparadha became Bhagavan Aparadha, Krishna Aparadha. Okay. So even if a devotee excuses an offender, the Lord does not tolerate any offense. So in the Kurukshetra war, Arjuna said, "Okay, let's forgive Duryodhana. Okay, I will forgive him. So we will not fight with him. Let's leave the matter here." But the Lord said, "You want to forgive him, but I don't want to forgive him. Okay, you have to fight. You have to kill him." Of course, at heart, the Lord always forgives, but externally, the reaction that one is supposed to receive for one's offenses, the Lord gives, the Lord sanctions that, right? The Lord may maintain that, what to say, kindness, mercy towards even offenders, but that does not mean that the Lord will not punish them. Okay, the Lord punishes them, and in fact, His punishing is also a manifestation of His mercy. He doesn't punish with a negative mentality or some grudge or envy or revengeful attitude towards those offenders, but He does it just to rectify them. So rectification and reformation are the priorities for the Lord. So the Lord does not want to just reject someone or kill someone, but He wants to reform them. So for that He may punish sometimes. Okay. So Arjuna said, "I will not punish," but the Lord said, "You have to punish." So one must endeavor to keep aside one's pride and greed and befriend the Lord's devotees. By making friendship with devotees, just imagine, Duryodhana makes friendship with Yudhishthira Maharaj. How nice it would have been. Yudhishthira always considered that we are 105 brothers, not 5 plus 100, 105. That's a very nice thing to live in, 105 brothers, 105 princes of Hastinapur. Okay, just like Kunti Maharani had 3 children: Bhima, Arjuna, and Yudhishthira. And Madri had 2 children, Nakul and Sahadev. But after Madri's death, Kunti Maharani considered that she had 5 children. Okay, I have 5 kids. Pandavas, 5 people are my sons. She always considered Nakul and Sahadev as her own sons. So, like that, there is unity. Within these Pandavas, there are 2 groups. Okay, they are not the sons of the same mother. They are sons of 2 different mothers, but they lived like one group. But here, but Kauravas, means Duryodhana and Parati, they did not have that unity. Okay, so another story, a pastime from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Haridas Thakur was a great devotee, and he was chanting the holy names of the Lord, and he is a very respected and popular Vaishnava in Banapol area. But Ramachandra Khan became very envious of Haridas Thakur, and to prove that Haridas Thakur was a fallen person, a sense gratifier, he had sent a prostitute to spoil the fame of Haridas Thakur. So prostitute went, as you know, she tried to distract him from his japa, but Haridas Thakur said, "You sit here, let me complete my rounds, then I will listen to you, what you want to say." So Haridas Thakur chanted, and this prostitute waited, and while waiting, she started chanting. 3 days, 3 nights, it happened like that. So within 3 days, this prostitute became a great Vaishnavi. She begged forgiveness. "Oh my dear Haridas Thakur, I'm really sorry. I have come here just to spoil your fame, pure fame, and I'm sent by Ramachandra Khan." So you know what Haridas Thakur said? "I knew this. I fully know that Ramachandra Khan is envious of me and he had sent you." So on the very day when Ramachandra Khan was planning to send you to me, I was about to leave this place. I don't want any botheration here. Okay. So he's not in a mood of confrontation. He's not a Kshatriya to confront and fight with people. Okay. So he wanted to leave, but he decided to stay back for 3 more days, just so that he can transform this prostitute. Can you imagine the quality of a Vaishnava like Haridas Thakur? She came to spoil his fame, but he stayed there at his home to transform her. So a Vaishnava is a well-wisher of even offender also, even an enemy also. So, and one more thing, this prostitute was innocent. Yes, her profession was very sinful, very heinous, okay, but she did not intend to offend Haridas Thakur. She became an instrument in the hands of an offender, Ramachandra Khan, but she personally did not have any envy or offensive mentality towards Haridas Thakur. So she begged forgiveness and she was transformed. But Ramachandra Khan was not like that. Right? He failed in his attempt to defame Haridas Thakur, but did he repent? Did he realize his offense? No. He continued with the same mentality. So this prostitute became a Vaishnavi and Haridas Thakur left that place and Ramachandra Khan remained an offender. He did not repent, he did not beg forgiveness, he stayed there. So another time Nityananda Prabhu came to Ramachandra Khan's house, his village. And Ramachandra Khan offended Nityananda Prabhu also. So there is something called Durga Mandapa in front of Ramachandra Khan's house. So Nityananda Prabhu came there and sat there. So then Ramachandra Khan had sent his servant to inform Nityananda Prabhu that, oh, Nityananda, this is not a good place for you. Better you stay in some cowshed or some milkman, or some cowherd boy. So this is not a good place for you. You cannot stay here. Okay. So kind of told him to leave from there. Then Nityananda Prabhu said, yes, this is not a place for me to stay. This is place for cow eaters to stay. He left from there. Then a government official, some Yamana Muslim government official came and he occupied the house of Ramachandra Khan and he even killed a cow and ate the cow's meat there. He did all abominable activities and he tormented Ramachandra Khan and his family and the entire village. So one offense to a Vaishnava leads to many offenses towards other Vaishnavas. And the offense committed by the offender will not affect only him, it will affect multiple others also. So knowing this, one should curb this mentality of offending Vaishnavas. Okay, but if you sincerely beg forgiveness and realize and repent for your mistakes, then you will get forgiveness and you will advance your spiritual life also. That's what this prostitute did. So she was very fortunate, but Ramachandra Khan was not fortunate. Okay. So knowing that one's offensive activities do not just ruin one's own self, but affects others also, one must behave responsibly with the devotees and with everyone else, not only with devotees. So another thing is not only offending a Vaishnava, offending Guru is even more detrimental. So you know this story from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antilila, where Ramachandra Puri, he was a disciple of Madhavendra Puri, he criticized Lord Chaitanya. Earlier, Ramachandra Puri criticized Madhavendra Puri also. Madhavendra Puri was on his bed in his last stages, and Ishvara Puri was serving Madhavendra Puri. So Madhavendra Puri was lamenting in separation from Krishna. He said, oh, I did not attain Mathura, I did not attain Krishna. He was lamenting out of love for Krishna, in separation from Krishna. Then Ramachandra Puri came to Madhavendra Puri and said, why are you lamenting? Just meditate on Brahman. He started instructing Guru. That too, what is the instruction? Meditate on Brahman. Then Madhavendra Puri said, I am lamenting in separation from Krishna and this fellow has come to me without understanding my emotions. He has come to instruct me about Brahman. Get out of here. If I see your face, I will become sinful. So you should not show your face again. So he left. So Ishvara Puri continued to serve Madhavendra Puri, and Madhavendra Puri blessed Ishvara Puri that you will definitely attain Krishna Prema. So by rendering service to Guru and Vaishnavas, we receive their blessings and we advance in spiritual life and we attain Krishna Prema. But by offending Vaishnavas and Guru, one will become a chronic criticizer. So Ramachandra Puri, because of his offense towards his Guru Madhavendra Puri, he became a chronic criticizer of devotees. Okay. So the offense towards devotees will induce material desires in us and impersonalistic tendencies also. Ramachandra became impersonalistic and he maintained a lot of material desires. Okay. So, and no one welcomed his presence. No one likes to stay with an offender. Okay. So, Mayavadic tendencies develop in us when we offend devotees. Okay. So, on the other hand, if we sincerely please Guru with our service, we will develop love for Krishna. So, another nice episode from Ramayana, multiple episodes. So, the gravity of Aparadha is demonstrated by the Lord's personal associates. Once, when Lord Ramachandra was in the forest during his Vanavas, Bharat realized, actually Bharat Maharaj was out of station, he was out of Ayodhya when Ram went to Vanavas. When Bharat came back, he came to know Dasharatha Maharaj died and Kaikeyi asked 2 boons from Dasharatha Maharaj and he lamented a lot and he took some Ayodhya Vasis and Vasishta and some soldiers and some ministers and on the chariot he went to the forest to meet Lord Ramachandra and request Ram to come back, please come back to Ayodhya. So as Bharat was approaching Lord Ram in the forest, Lakshman saw it from a distance. Oh, who is coming? A big chariot is coming. So many soldiers are coming. And he saw the flag, Ayodhya's flag, from a distance. Oh, this must be Bharat. So what was Kaikeyi's boon? Kaikeyi wanted Bharat to become the king of Ayodhya and Kaikeyi wanted Ram to go to the forest. So Lakshman got this point. Lakshman just felt that because of Bharat, Lord Ramachandra is in forest. Okay. So now Bharat is not leaving Ram even in forest also. He is coming with his soldiers to attack Lord Ramachandra. As soon as he saw Bharat from a distance, he thought it's an attack. So he came to Ram and said, Ram, Bharat is coming to attack us. So he has chased us away from the kingdom. Now he is coming to attack us. He wanted to kill you, right? He is not leaving you in forest. So I will go and kill him. So you just give me orders. Then Lord Ramachandra said, wait and watch. Bharat will not do that even in his dreams. Bharat will not think against me even within his mind. So just because he is coming on a chariot with so many soldiers and associates, that does not mean he is coming to attack me. Maybe he is coming to discuss with me. Who knows? Okay. So then Lakshman just waited patiently. Lakshman is humble. Of course, he is a little overexcited at that moment, but he is humble. So he waited. Then Bharat came and begged forgiveness for Lord Ramachandra, from Lord Ramachandra for the mistake of his mother. And Bharat said, oh Lord, please come back. Please come back to Ayodhya. So you know what has happened later. But here the point is, Lakshman, in one sense, he offended Bharat by doubting his intentions. Okay. So already Bharat is experiencing so much of pain. Not only Lakshman, Kausalya doubted, Vasishta doubted. It's all because of Kaikeyi's intervention that Bharat got the kingdom. Okay. But Bharat never wanted that kingdom. He always wanted Lord Ramachandra as the king and he is just a servant of Lord Ramachandra. But many people suspected Bharat's intentions, and Lakshman is also there. So the pain that one experiences when someone doubts us and doubts our intentions and integrity is very intense. Okay, so better to give a benefit of doubt before judging a Vaishnava. That's very important. Now, because Lakshman doubted Bharat, Lord Ramachandra wanted to give a token reaction to Lakshman. What happened? Later, when Ram went to chase that deer, Maricha, okay, then Maricha died and he shouted in the voice of Lord Ram, hey Sita, hey Lakshman. Then Sita told Lakshman, go and help your brother. And Lakshman said, no, my brother doesn't need any help. You don't worry. You relax. Then Sita doubted Lakshman. Oh, one brother has taken his kingdom. Now another brother is trying to take his wife or what? So like actually in that moment of circumstantial outburst, Sita said like that. Of course, Sita did not intend to offend Lakshman in any way, but she just said that. And Lakshman felt great pain. So Sita, my mother, I always treated her like my mother, and she is doubting my intentions. So he felt so hurt. So when someone suspects us, when someone doubts our intentions, it's very painful. So Lakshman doubted Bharat, later Sita doubted Lakshman. And later, after the whole war with Ravana, when Sita came in front of Ram, Ram said, I cannot accept you. You stayed in someone's house for 1 year. How can I accept you? He doubted, quote unquote. He doubted Sita Devi in that sense. And Sita proved her chastity by entering the fire, and then the original Sita came out. You know what has happened. So, Lord Ramachandra's eternal associates, Sita, Lakshman, Bharat, they are also giving this important message to all of us. Even if you doubt the intentions of a devotee, even if you unnecessarily judge a devotee, that's an offense. Ram cannot tolerate that. So we should not unnecessarily doubt other devotees. Yeah, we should give a benefit of doubt. Sometimes, of course, we should have the judgment, but we should not become judgmental. So we can assess the abilities of devotees to render some service effectively when we are distributing services. To that degree, it's fine. But unnecessarily suspecting devotees and evaluating their intentions and doubting their integrity is offensive. The Lord is not pleased with that. Okay. So this is another thing. So one more thing is Sugriva and Lakshman. Okay. You know, Sugriva made friendship with Lord Ramachandra. And Sugriva offered a seat to Lord Ramachandra. When they met for the first time, Sugriva offered a seat to Lord Ramachandra, and he also sat and had a discussion. But Sugriva never offered a seat to Lakshman. Okay, he thought that Ram is my friend and Lakshman is Ram's servant. So Ram and me are on an equal plane. Lakshman is a servant, he can just stand. If my servants are standing here, my all other Vanaras, and Lakshman also can stand. So he did not honor, he did not respect Lakshmana. So Hanumanji noticed it. Ram also noticed it, he did not say anything. Hanumanji noticed it. Immediately Hanumanji broke one tree and got the tree branch and made a nice seat for Lakshman to sit, and he offered the seat. Ram became pleased. So Lakshman was innocent, he was just sitting there, he never expected any honor. So later, when Sugriva went to fight with Vali, Lord Ramachandra noticed it. Okay, you offended Lakshman? Fine. So Sugriva went to Vali to fight with him, and the agreement was that Lord Ramachandra will kill Sugriva with his arrow as the fight was going on. So, but Ram did not release an arrow, and Sugriva was beaten up thoroughly. Then he came back to Ram and said, hey, why did you not release your arrow? Why did you not kill Vali? Then Ram said, Vali and yourself, both are looking in a similar way. So you both look alike. So I could not notice who is Vali and who is Sugriva. What if my arrow hits you instead of Vali? I didn't want that to happen. So then Lakshman brought a garland and offered it to Sugriva. So to receive that garland, you have to bow down, right? So Sugriva bowed down in front of Lakshman, and Lakshman blessed Sugriva by offering him a garland. Then Sugriva fought with Vali, and then Ram killed Vali. You know what has happened. So earlier, Sugriva did not bow down to Lakshman or offer him a seat. He was not giving the respect that Lakshman deserved. Now, by Lakshman's blessings, he went to fight with Vali. So Lord Ramachandra did not tolerate this offensive mentality. Okay. So these are various stories from our scriptures. Disrespecting a devotee is an offense. One must cultivate a culture of respect towards devotees, despite the circumstantial differences of opinion or disagreements. Sometimes we may not agree with another devotee. In meetings and in our discussions, it may happen that we may not agree with others' opinions or preferences or styles of functioning. That's fine. We are unique. Everybody is unique. But we should not demean the other devotee or disrespect that other devotee. You may not agree with that person, but disagreement should not lead to disrespect. Okay. So, because everybody is unique, everybody has their own style of functioning, that's fine. Okay. So, Vaishnava Aparadha and Vaishnava Ninda is like poison, while glorification of Vaishnavas is like nectar. We have to make a decision whether we want to drink nectar or drink poison. Okay. So, if we drink poison, that's an obstacle for our bhakti. But if we drink nectar, by speaking the glories of devotees, then we can progress in bhakti very effectively. Okay. So, and one more thing is, if one offends great souls, one's lifespan, opulence, reputation, everything will be destroyed. Ayushriyam yasho dharmam lokan asisha evacha hanti shreyamsi sarvani pumso mahadatikramah. So, Ayu means lifespan, Shriya, opulence, Yasha, fame, Dharma, one's Dharma, okay. Hanti Shreyamsi Sarvani. Loka means the good destinations that we are supposed to achieve. And all the blessings that we have received, everything will be destroyed by offending devotees. Not only these some 9 stories we discussed, there are many more stories. So that reveal the dangers of Vaishnava Aparadha and also reveal important lessons. How can we avoid that? So we need to avoid offending devotees by not being envious of them, by doing our sadhana nicely, and by devotees. Okay. So these are a few thoughts about Vaishnava Aparadha. Thank you very much. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.